What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Atlantic Files, the number one podcast and the number one division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. As always, joined by your hosts, myself, Alex Fishbein. We got Dennis Big Sexy Clausen. What's going on, man? Got the fresh haircut again, I see.
You're damn straight.
Okay. Went back to the barber.
You gotta.
Oh, of course. I have to get my hair cut. The little hair I do have is getting bad.
Yeah, you might want to get that cleaned up.
Yeah, I definitely, I usually get the buzz, so waiting on that. Tyler's here. We can start the show, everybody.
Thank God. What up, Tyler?
So before we get into stuff, how you been doing? How's your playoff watching going? How's the good weather going for you?
I don't care about the weather. If you want me to be honest, I'm not going to go outside, so it doesn't matter. I'll stay inside.
Okay, that's fair.
I've been watching so much playoff basketball, and I love the fact that they have, the two games back to back.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is I go to bed too late now because I say, I'll watch the first half of the game. And then the next thing you know, one thing leads to another. And it's, 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter and it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah. And it, especially with those West Coast games starting at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, and I say, you know what? I'll get to bed early tomorrow, just watch the rest of it, and then it never happens.
Yep. That's exactly what I do.
The games are good, though.
Oh, yeah. The series have been amazing. And
everything has been good.
We'll actually just start with that as our first topic here.
Okay.
So, as of right now, 3 playoff series are all 2-2. The Sixers Heat, the Celtics Bucks, and Phoenix Dallas. The only one that's a little outweighed is Golden State Memphis, but obviously John Morant got hurt. We'll get into that later, too, talking about all this breaking the code stuff that Steve Kerr was talking about. But, I mean, all these series are fun. Everything has kind of turned out better than I've expected so far in this round.
This postseason has been fantastic, especially this round. Things have been competitive. Teams have been coming back when it looks like they didn't have a shot. So, yeah, it's been a ton of fun to watch. This is a good postseason. It's better than what we've seen, over the past couple of years, especially the bubble postseason. So,
true.
Yeah, it's been pretty phenomenal. All this year, everything's great. There's so much you could talk about each game.
Oh yeah. Who do you have as now that we're 2-2 in a lot of these series, who do you see? Do you see any of the upsets happening? Do you see Phoenix losing or Miami
were
losing,
we talking about Dallas a couple weeks ago or last week or something about how well Dallas was playing? Dallas is playing out of their fucking mind. And the fact that Luka is just tearing everybody up right now by himself and everybody around him is doing what they're supposed to be doing. Even guys coming off the bench, like Bertans has been playing some quality minutes off the bench. Dinwiddie's been relatively, but when one guy doesn't play well, the other guys have been stepping up to kind of complement Luka because Luka's doing everything, but nobody can stop him. He's legitimately the best player in the league right now. The only thing that's going to be his downfall is he's got to get his emotions in check because he's just bitching and complaining way too much. Refs are going to attack him, and you don't want that. You don't want to go into Draymond Green territory. Draymond Green's been getting teched for years, and a lot of the times he doesn't deserve a tech, but based on his history, that's what happens.
Oh yeah, I know. And that the thing with Luka too is I remember, I think it was earlier this season, people were commenting so much about how he bitched and complained to refs that he was like, people are right. I got to stop doing that. I got to stop, complaining every time I don't get a foul, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like this postseason, more so than the last that I remember, everybody's been bitching about calls. Like, I don't remember this many people complaining about foul calls, both on the court, on the bench, fans, whoever. I don't remember it being this bad any other postseason in recent
Well,
memory.
the new foul rules that were implemented this year have a lot of players, you can tell, obviously haven't adjusted to how things are.
Oh
Even
yeah.
the refs don't have any idea what they're doing. You know, some guys like James Harden who have a history of purposely just jumping into people and drawing a foul aren't getting legitimate fouls called against them or for them in their favor. Yet there are other players who will shoot, change the angle of how they're shooting. It's not a natural shooting motion, and then they're still going to get the foul called in their favor. So even the refs don't have it figured out, you know. So that's a challenge. There's going to be a lot of bitching about it, especially since players haven't fully adapted to it, and in some cases they've been right about it.
Yeah, no, it's true. Tyler says here they got to fire all the refs. Some of them are actually blind. There are some pretty questionable calls, especially lately. Um, I mean, just from recency, there was in the Sixers Heat game, Jimmy Butler like went down to the post, switched his pivot foot 3 times, took like 2 steps one way, another step the other way, and then went up for a shot, and they called an and one, not even any even look at a travel. So there's a lot of things, especially travels. I mean, travels haven't been called in ages.
I mean, and it's been bad this year. I think with the traveling, like guys are thinking they're doing a Euro step, a hop step, but they're the amount of walking some of these guys are doing, and it's not getting called.
Oh
So
yeah,
some players have a right to bitch about things because they're not getting the calls, or they're getting calls against them, or not getting a call in favor of them when other guys are getting away with way more.
and my other thing too is like you were saying about those calls that they were gonna change how they called in the beginning of the season. One of them being like that rip through move. They said in the beginning that the rip through was not going to be called, and if it was going to be on the floor, never a shooting foul. But I've seen that exact thing called and called a shooting foul for like 4 different teams, like 7 different times.
Well, they
So
don't.
I'm like,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but there's I think Wes Matthews was shooting a three last night, and they called it on the floor as opposed to a shooting motion. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on, to be honest with you. So the bottom line is, Anthony Edwards at 20 years old, he introduces himself to the refs, gets to know the refs, and when you build a rapport with these guys, it's going to go in your way sometimes. When you're
oh
a pain
yeah,
in the ass like Draymond all the time, and Luca's a pain in the ass, they're not going to want to listen to it.
exactly. I mean, when especially like James Harden, who is literally chirping at the ref every single offensive possession. They're at one point they're just gonna tune you out completely and not give you anything. So that's just the way it goes. And it at this point they should all realize like all of these calls are pretty shitty and nobody's really going to like give you all that much. So just shut up and play basketball. Like it feels weird saying that because of all the people that talk about like that politically wise, but this is just from foul calls. Like stop complaining about calls and just play. That's what I like at that
See,
point you got to feel that as a player at some point.
I like the fact that they're letting him play and not calling things.
Right.
Except now we're getting to the point where we're not calling anything, but yet we're just going back and reviewing it. Like the green
Yes.
light is constantly on. And now we're at the point where these guys are getting an extra timeout. They're getting extra time to strategize. Guys are getting rest. And it's getting kind of obnoxious at this point where they literally have to review every single thing. Who was the ball off of? Was that a flagrant one? Was a flagrant two? You could review it all you want, And the Draymond Green play on Brandon Clark, to me, that wasn't a flagrant two. That was a tough flagrant one, but it's the postseason. And then you got Dylan Brooks, killing Gary Payton basically, and they give him a flagrant two, rightfully so. But there's no consistency with the flagrants either, and there's been a lot of calls that have just been called a regular foul when they're obviously flagrant. So.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody knows what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard to I understand players, it's frustrating because you don't know how to think because you're like, well, this got called but this didn't. This got called but this didn't. And it's like at some point you got to stop trying to figure it out because the refs don't even know, like you said, what the hell they're doing. So if they don't even know, you're not ever going to understand when you're on the other side of it.
Yeah, and again, like I said, it has to do with who you are. A lot of times it's whether they like you or not.
Right.
As crazy as it sounds.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys will get teed up just based on their history when they didn't really do anything but disagree with something in an animated way. But because of their history, they're getting it called against them. So that's just how it goes. But I'm in favor of letting them play. Let them play, but we got to tone it down with the reviews of everything.
Yep, completely agree. Especially because now they're reviewing every little thing and being like, "Is that a flagrant?"
Right.
Like you were saying earlier, and the one you brought up the Dylan Brooks one and everything, but there was also the one with Joel Embiid who went up for a rebound and slapped Butler or whatever. So they gave him a flagrant on that. And then on the other side of the floor, you have Bam throat chop Tobias. And they reviewed it and they were like, or no, sorry, they didn't even review it at all. And they're just like, oh yeah,
they didn't review it because there was a timeout called and you can't. There's some stupid rule that I don't even know. Tobias, honestly, I don't even think Tobias got hit that hard. He was kind of acting a little bit. I mean, he took a chop to the throat, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
We've seen worse, right? I mean,
right.
To me, a flagrant should be so obvious to you that it's a flagrant. There's no doubt about it that what you just went. I mean, there's multiple referees on the floor. The fact that not one of them can rule that act was so animated and so unnecessary that one of them just doesn't come out and say, I saw the whole thing. I had the right angle. He hit him in the face. That was egregious. That was horrendous. That's a flagrant. Now, if you got to go and review it to maybe a flagrant two, okay. But if you're just looking, if you see somebody punch somebody in the face, obviously he punched him in the face. If you see somebody hit somebody hard, okay, well, was it that hard to where you were wowed at what you just watched to where it was an intentional? Your brain is capable of processing that information without you going. But what's going on now is that we're just getting lazy and we're getting so dependent on technology that sometimes we're scared to make the call, and referees get so scrutinized that they don't even want to make the call because they don't want to make a bad call because then they're going to get death threats and all this other bullshit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and Tyler said he got hit hard. You could have heard it in his voice. Yeah, I mean, there was a little yell in there when he got hit and everything, but...
Who are we talking, Tobias?
I think so.
Come on, Tyler.
But it's also, like you just said, the thing that kills me about flagrants as well is just... It's every time someone accidentally gets caught in the head or they're turned around and they're doing making a basketball play but they follow through and hit somebody near the head or whatever, it almost always gets called a flagrant. And not every accidental hit is a flagrant. And that's
you're 110% correct on that one too.
Yeah, and that's what the reviewing and everything there's almost never any like context. People just see the slow-mo and they're like, oh, look, see, he followed through, he got hit in the head, flagrant. But like,
right.
You didn't realize that the whole thing was a sequence. He was getting a rebound, passing the ball, and as he was passing it, followed through and accidentally tapped him in the head. Like,
and I think too, we're at the point where the acting from some of these players is getting a little much. We need to get to a point where players are being held accountable for flopping, basically, or for being over animated when they get hit by something that wasn't even anything. Like, if you flop and if you're reviewed, if the play's reviewed and you're determined that you flopped, you should be held accountable for that the same way that somebody else is. You shouldn't be able to get away with that.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. And they talked about, fining people for flops, and I think they fined like maybe 3 people total ever since they made that rule like 5 seasons ago. So it's like, that doesn't deter anybody.
LeBron's 6'8", 6'9", maybe shrunk a little bit in his older age. Mm-hmm. The guy's jacked beyond belief. There was rumors that he wanted to try to play in the NFL. He's a physical specimen, yet the wind blows and he's down complaining about it.
I mean, I'll even say Joel Embiid. He flops plenty. That man is 7'2".
Hey, you said that. I didn't.
Oh, trust me, I know it. Like, I see it all the time. The man's 7'2", like 260, and he's on the ground more often than not.
Yeah, but the difference I think between Joel Embiid is LeBron James is I don't think Joel Embiid's a bitch.
True.
I think LeBron does it just to be a pain in the ass and just a bitch. I think Joel does it from an intelligent standpoint, not saying that he's more intelligent, has a higher basketball IQ than LeBron does, but I think he does it when he thinks it'll benefit him.
Right. I mean, I tweeted this on the Atlantic Files account, I think a few days ago, but the top 2 worst floppers have to be Marcus Smart and Kyle Lowry.
I honestly would put LeBron right up there too. He'd
probably be 3rd. I would put him in 3rd.
But yeah, he's a mess too.
The things he does.
We're talking about the playoffs now. I mean, I guess we could talk about the Heat too, unless you were just going to say something. I interrupted you, but now I'm starting to get fucking fired up because I'm thinking of how ridiculous some of this stuff is.
No, I agree. And like Kyle Lowry, there's the one video of the first round against the Hawks where Kyle Lowry is just like throwing his arms like this as he goes down the floor with somebody just like running next to him. I think it was DeAndre Hunter just running next to him. And like Lowry's throwing his arms in the air, waving them all around and everything. And they actually gave him a foul call. I'm like, how do you reward that?
And Lowry's not a small guy. He might be frail as shit at his age. But he's like he's short, but he's like a little meatball. He's got like a big ass. He's got big arms. You can tell there's strength there.
Oh, yeah. Like he could probably outlift DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell he's strong. And for the level of physicality that he brings sometimes is just, it's laughable.
The other thing, in the last game against the Sixers, there was the one where like he was getting covered by Matisse and Harden, and Matisse or Danny Green, and Matisse like reached in a little and like tapped the ball, but then he picks the ball up and flops like this and it like falls backwards, and then he gets up and he's like really in pain from his hamstring, and it was like, well, maybe if you didn't flop, you wouldn't have hurt yourself in that moment.
Yeah, the flop looked painful.
Yeah,
the way you're talking about, like they were coming across half court.
Yeah.
Then he like twisted and contorted his body as he was going. It was like the first half, maybe towards the end. Of the first, like, is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yep, that's the one.
And then after that, he like went back to the locker room with like 6 or 7 minutes left in the half.
Yep, because he was like limping and everything.
Well, he was doing that shit throughout the game, like. All of a sudden, he just grabs his hamstring. And this was my beef with Kyle Lowry all along. When everybody's like, "Ooh, Kyle Lowry's going to Miami," I'm like, he's not going to fucking play. I mean, didn't I say that? Didn't you hear me say that?
You did. You
where
said it
we
from day
ever,
one.
yeah, I mean, he missed time throughout the regular season because of personal issues. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when you're in the playoffs, when it counts, which is where you need him, because Miami was looking like they were on their way to the Eastern Conference Finals. But guess who's back? Kyle Lowry with a hamstring
Exactly.
tweaks his
Yep.
hamstring.
And
So
I think the last report I just saw was that he is questionable for the rest of the postseason.
yeah, he. I mean, I'm pretty good with my injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I last week I said Joel's coming back for Game 3. I mean, I know
True.
these guys. So it would be a surprise if you're going to start getting these stupid reports that Lowry's ramping up his activity. He could be back for Game 4. Like, who cares?
Right.
The way Tyler Hero's been playing without Lowry in the lineup, and the fact that we have Victor Oladipo, who's been playing, you're better off leaving Lowry out and just letting fucking Victor Oladipo play, because
Oh
at
yeah.
least
Well,
the guy
especially
looks shit hot right now.
yeah, and especially game 3, I'm pretty sure Lowry didn't even score a single point. And
No,
then
he was
game
0 for
4,
4.
yeah,
And Oladipo had 19 points in Game 3.
right. And then game 4, I think Lowry might have had like 2 or 3 points. So it's not like he was even doing anything when he was in.
Mm-mm.
So it's almost better for them that he doesn't play. And I will say, since we're on the topic of the Miami Heat, where has Duncan Robinson been? Like I know his defense isn't great. I know that. But like with the way that they were shooting from 3, with how terrible it was, why not throw him in there? They just gave him a big contract too.
It's sad, too, because you got a guy like Caleb Martin getting time. You got Morris getting time. PJ Tucker's going to play 40 minutes a game. The guy's been on the injury
Mm-hmm.
report with a calf strain throughout the entire. Well, actually, like half of the Heat have been on the injury report for
Oh
some
yeah.
reason. It's the same shit over and over again. But
Butler's always on the injury report.
yeah, but surprisingly, he hasn't been. It's been Hero with the ankle, Struce with the hamstring, Lowry with the hamstring, Gabe Vincent with right knee irritation. Deadman had a head cold.
Oh yeah, I
So
forgot about
these are
that.
all these guys literally, and it's sad. I just named all the ailments for the Miami Heat. but um, but then you got a guy like Duncan Robinson on the bench, and you got Lowry who's just been shit in the bed, just coming in and play.
Right.
And the fact that Bam Adebayo was the big man on campus for the first 2 games, but once Daddy comes back in the lineup, the fucking Phantom of the Opera, Joel Embiid comes in. Bam didn't has a play like complete garbage.
Oh yeah. And people were talking about too last game. They were like, "Oh, well, look, Bam had like 16 and 8 this time," and I'm like, "Yeah, 14 of those points came when Embiid was on the bench, so he had 2 points on Embiid."
If I were the Miami Heat, I would seriously, if they lose to the Sixers, I would seriously take a step back and figure out where the hell they're going, because if you're going to be dealing with Joel Embiid in the Eastern Conference for a while. I don't think he'll ever go anywhere for a while.
Mm-hmm.
At least in Philly, I don't think. I mean, he's going to be in Philly for a while. He's not going
Oh
anywhere
yeah,
until
agreed.
he's 39, and then all of a sudden he's going to sign a veteran minimum to go play 22 minutes for the Sacramento Kings. But like, you need to take a look, because if our star, if our big man, our big time Bam Adebayo, if he's playing like this, you're never going to get past the 76ers. And the
Oh
fact
yeah.
that you got a point guard in Kyle Lowry, who you thought everybody was ranting and raving. Can you tell I'm fired up? Everybody
Oh yeah.
was ranting and raving and saying we're winning a championship. The Heat are number one. Fuck that. I'm not buying that. The fact that they were the number one seed and everybody was raving about how good the Heat aren't that good.
Exactly. And like the Heat, there's a lot of people that kind of fooled themselves into thinking like the Heat are this elite team and everything just because they got the number 1 seed and whatever it may be. They're like, oh, they're the best 3-point shooting team, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of their shooters are guys that can't be on the floor at all times. Like right now, they're not even playing Duncan Robinson, who's their number 1 or number 2 shooter on the team. Gabe Vincent is another good shooter, but he's been terrible this series. Tyler Hero is probably their only shooter that's actually shooting well. Outside of him, they all sucked.
Oladipo, when he's been getting his minutes, he's been playing pretty well.
Oladipo's been good.
Yeah. The game when Butler was out in that Atlanta series and Lowry was out, he looked like Victor Oladipo. So they better thank Christ that he's on the roster. They better have a real conversation with Kyle Lowry and say, listen, Gabe Vincent is starting the rest of the postseason. Don't even come back, because to see you hobbling around and grabbing your hamstring, you look like a buffoon. So we'll see you in the offseason, maybe, because we're probably going to try to get rid of you.
Oh, I mean, I definitely would.
If they don't try to get rid of him, they're crazy.
Exactly. And I just wanted to show this. I tweeted this out on, I think it was after Game 3. So you were talking about Bam, and when Joel Embiid comes back, Bam only puts up 11, 7, and 3 against Joel Embiid. Now that's not like completely awful, but for a guy that, like, it would be perfect if he was the backup center. But for a guy that's supposed to be one of the best centers, he's not doing shit.
That's what I'm saying, though. He's their number 2 scoring option.
Right. That's not going to cut it.
And he's number 1 a lot of the time because Butler doesn't play. I mean, who misses a playoff game? Actually, he was on the injury report last round, but who the fuck misses a playoff game because of a sore knee?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Nobody does that. Who does that? I mean, come on.
I mean, you have Joel Embiid playing with a broken face and a messed up thumb right now.
Fucked up thumb, broken face. I mean, I know I shit all over Joel Embiid, but I mean, I have a whole new level of respect for him after the guy will literally try to play whenever he can. He gets hurt a lot, which is a lot of my beef. But obviously, I mean, I don't know what's going on with his face, if he's got a calcium deficiency or whatever, where he's just breaking bones and shit, but at least he plays.
Right. No, that's what I was funny. I was showing Deanna the video of him breaking his face.
How's she doing?
She's good.
Good. Tell her
doing all the wedding planning now and everything, talking to the florist, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
No, she's talking to the florist, and you're just getting dragged there.
Well, they're all like phone or video calls now, so you don't even have to go anywhere.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But I mean,
that's another
she's talking
thing.
to the florist.
When I was talking about technology making people lazy, you can't even go to a doctor's appointment anymore. They want to just throw you on the cell phone.
Yep. Well, especially if they hear people that are just like, oh, my tummy hurts. They're like, okay. Video.
Yeah, I literally need to go to the doctor once a month because I think I'm having a heart attack. Mm-hmm. So I need somebody like, I want a full workup. I want blood work. I want an EKG. I want a referral for a stress test. Like, I need that.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to get that.
That's understandable.
I don't really go once a month.
I go like once or twice a year. So, and that's someone who has Crohn's that like needs to probably go, but
what are you saying? You're tougher than me? No,
I'm just saying I hate going, so I just don't go.
Yeah, but I mean, I need it, like, to go to the doctor. I need to be like, listen, you know, I like to, I don't know. You ever wonder why old people, they love to go to the doctor? I'm starting to get that way as I'm getting older.
Just so you can socialize?
Yeah, I'm like, somebody just listen to my problems. My back hurts sometimes. I eat too much. Like, I need somebody to listen to me.
I mean, isn't that what therapists are for? Or is that...
Yeah, but I mean, who wants to do that?
True.
I mean, I
They
don't need it
cost a
every
little bit
week.
more.
I just need it every so often just to complain about a ailment that I have.
Makes sense. Someone should make like an app for
I'd be like, my shoulder's been hurting. Like, and I want an X-ray and stuff. I just want somebody to
that.
listen to me.
On the spot.
Yeah, I just want something to complain about.
Makes sense. Everyone's got to get their complaining out somewhere.
Yeah, nobody else around this house listens to me.
Speaking of complaining, I wonder if with all the complaining that players do for fouls, I wonder if they complain about anything like outside of that. Cuz like I don't know, I get my complaining out in like one go and then I'm like, "All right, I'm good." So I wonder if they complain about calls for an entire night and then complain about more later on.
When they have one of their shorties sneak up to the hotel room,
Yeah.
you think it should be like, come on, some chick talking to James Harden. She's got a short skirt on and stuff, and she's like, "Yo, what up, boo?" And James is like, "Man, not tonight. I didn't get that call."
Scott Foster reffed our game
Scott,
tonight.
Scott, that asshole, Tony Brothers. I tell you, I'm sick. I knew this was going to happen. She'll be like,
I told
let me
you,
make
you
you
can
feel
only
better.
come over when Scott Foster is not the ref.
Yeah, she'll be like, "Ooh, I'll make you feel better." Oh, you will? So you'll call him for me and tell him to start calling fouls?
So you'll give me the free throws?
Who was that? The Bosnian guy, like Zildjiris?
Oh, Zydrunas Ilgauskas?
No, he's the ref though.
Oh.
I can't think of his name.
I know
right now.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Come on,
yeah,
James.
I mean,
I'll make you feel good. Nothing will make me feel good. He's got
only 2 free throws will make me feel good.
Yeah, I just wanted 2 free throws, honey.
But anyway,
He turns the lights out. He has a picture of Scott Foster on the bed. I'll show him.
It's like that Wolverine meme when he's like petting the photo. Oh God.
Yeah. I don't get those.
Okay.
I never understand those things because people send them to me and I'm like, I don't know what that means.
It means he's like longing for the person.
I know, but there shouldn't be that much thought about a meme. I actually follow this guy who explains memes. And once he explains it, I go, oh.
Then do they become funny the next time you see them, or do you just still not?
No, because I'm annoyed that I had to do all that work to understand a meme.
Oh.
Like, only a certain people will get a meme. Like, and it's like a small group of people. They'll be like, hey, do the shoulder thing. Check this out. They'll look at the meme and they'll laugh like it's fucking crazy. And then they'll show me, and I'm like, I don't get it.
Well, especially like because there's memes also just for specific shows and everything. If you never watch the show, also it's just like, okay. Like I've had people show me like Game of Thrones memes and stuff, and I'm like, cool, never seen it.
But the thing is I can't watch shows because literally whenever I'm just watching basketball.
Oh yeah, and then when it's the off season, I want to go do stuff because now I don't have to sit and watch basketball.
No, it'd be NFL training camp by that time.
That's true. Too.
So we're gonna want to hear how many snaps Sony Michel is getting with the first team on the Dolphins instead of Raheem Mostert and Myles Gaskin.
True.
Like that's what we need to know in the summer.
Although now that we're in this 30-team fantasy basketball league, I'm about to start watching international ball. I'm about to start watching like G League and whatever's below G League but still pro.
I can't believe we got roped into that.
I know. The draft is going to be insane.
I didn't even know it was going to be that much, and then once it happened, I had to go up to my wife and go, "Hey, your hair's looking nice. Just so you know, I joined this basketball league today, and we can't afford groceries this week."
I didn't think it's going to be that much either. And I even showed I showed Deanna that like the big like bylaws of the league, and she was like, "This is a fantasy league." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"We can apparently trade contracts." I was like, "I didn't know I was signing up to be a legit NBA GM."
Well, now now you are.
Apparently, I'm now the GM of the actual Sixers.
I didn't pay my electric bill this month because of it, so if the lights go out, you know what happened.
If the podcast cuts off, you know what happened.
It's because of that damn league.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, so we need to talk about MVP. Nikola Jokic reportedly won MVP. It hasn't been official. They haven't the NBA themselves hasn't officially come out and said he won and given.
Hey, Woj said it, so that's good. That's
exactly. Woj said it, so we know it's true. So at this point, obviously everyone's been debating whether it should have been Jokic, whether it should have been Embiid, whether it should have been Giannis. I've even seen people throw Doncic or Devin Booker into the mix, even though those are way behind those top three. What do you think? Deserved? Not deserved? Should someone else have won?
I said you should have just split it.
Okay.
No. I mean, you get the thing you can put up?
Like the votes or the stats?
No, put the stats up. Do the thing.
Oh, yeah. I'll get that. Hold on. Let me bring it up.
So, yeah, no, I mean, it was super close, and you knew there was going to be pushback either way. So, the fact that Jokic got it, who played pretty fucking well, and Embiid played well, but I don't know, I just think Jokic is just a little more consistent. Especially he's on the floor more.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Embiid wasn't on the floor, but he did get COVID, so he's apparently not as much of a man as Nikola Jokic is.
Apparently not. I will share this.
Jokic must have got that the Russian vaccine, the Sputnik.
He probably got like a Russian spy gadget injected into him.
Something.
The real 5G.
Right.
But here's the look at the stats.
Can you make that bigger?
Maybe. Did that do anything?
Yeah, that's perfect right there.
Okay. Yeah, so Embiid obviously leading in points because he was the scoring champion for this season. But a lot of the other stats go in favor of Jokic. He's obviously higher in rebounds, assists, steals by like 0.4. Field goal percentage is better. His free throw percentage is the second highest after Embiid. And then a lot of the advanced stats go into Jokic's favor as well. I don't have the advanced stats up right here, but obviously plus minus he is a better one. And then it was like PER, he was the best, and like true shooting, effective field goal, all sorts of those things. He was number one, other than like maybe a couple defensive stats or rebounding stats.
But here's what I think it goes down to too. I think just Jokic he's the most valuable. His stats are better, not by a lot in many categories. Right. But if Nikola Jokic isn't playing for the Nuggets would be in who's the shittiest team in the league? They'd be like the Detroit Pistons of the West. You know what I mean?
True.
So at least when Embiid isn't on the floor, like, yeah, it sucks, but at least they have like capable players who can step up. Maxey, Tobias, every 4 games, Tobias Harris gets good. The Nuggets, who the fuck do they have? When you get rid of Jokic, who's next? Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, Austin Rivers has been touted on that team. Fucking Monty Morris. Like, the team is horrendous. And the fact that Jokic by himself, with the Nuggets not having Michael Porter and Jamal Murray pretty much the entire season, except for Porter played like half a game this season. But the fact that fucking guy took that team to a 6 seed and into the postseason is a miracle.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I am not here to discount any type of season that Jokic had because he had a tremendous season. Also, the first player in NBA history to put up, what was it, 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists. I
Yeah.
mean, that's insane in and of itself. Like you said, the team that he brought to the postseason, they were terrible. Especially with Michael Porter playing like 5 games total before he hurt his back again, and then Murray not playing all season and everything. So no, I would have been okay if any one of these 3 players won MVP.
Yeah, you're gonna get, like I said, you're gonna get pushback. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I'm not mad or anything that Embiid didn't get it. Do I think he still deserves at least one MVP for either this season or last season? Yes. But I'm not mad that he lost to a guy like Jokic. Where if they gave it to, like, Devin Booker, I would have been like, no, this whole fucking thing is stupid.
John Morant, MVP. You know,
Yeah,
like that type of stupid shit. There's only 5 guys. Actually, there's probably 5 guys right now that I would consider, maybe 6, like in the running for like MVP moving ahead. Jokic, Embiid, Jokic, Doncic, Kevin Durant, and Giannis. And maybe Steph Curry, depends if he's hurt or not that week. So, I mean, I think moving ahead, it's going to be those guys for the next couple seasons.
Right.
But I think if Luka plays the way he's been playing during the postseason, heading into next season, that guy's going to, like, command some serious attention, and he could be MVP easily.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. I mean, a lot of these young guys coming up have a good shot for MVP consideration.
And Giannis needs to fucking figure out how to shoot.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that is like holding him back. For one, he can't. Literally, the league has to, like, the referees have to, like, accommodate him when he's shooting free throws because he can't figure out how to shoot in less than fucking 10 seconds. Like they'll let him, like, stand at the free throw line for 5 seconds before they even give him the ball to start the 10 seconds, and he still can't fucking make a free throw. So
they're like, all right, gather yourself.
Yeah, last night I think he was like 12 for 20 something from, like, shooting. Like, unless he's, like, within 6 inches from the basket, he's not fucking making anything. The reason why he's been so successful is because he's just lack of a better term, a freak. I mean, gets right to the basket, nobody can stop him, but he needs to figure out how to shoot the ball, because if not, he's in trouble.
Oh yeah, and that's been the narrative for him for a while. Like, yeah, he still won his MVPs, he still won a ring and whatever, but if you could even get that 29.3 3-point percentage up to, like, Jokic's 33-34%, that's big in and of itself, because that opens up a lot of things when the other team is trying to game plan a defense against you. Like, Joel Embiid, they all take around the same amount of 3-point attempts per game, and Joel Embiid's hitting 37% of them. That actually is a big part of his game. You can't leave him wide open from 3 because he will hit those. Whereas Giannis, you're kind of like, let's see what we get.
Embiid's got that sweet pump fake.
That too.
That everybody falls for.
Every time. Every time. I even see it coming when I'm watching TV. I'm like, all right, pump fake, drive. Does it. And they bite every time.
Well, you know what it is too? When you know, like, hey, I'm guarding Joel Embiid, you're probably nervous as shit.
Oh, hell yeah.
So you're going to fall for anything. You know, like when you were playing Nintendo and you just keep hitting A?
Yep.
Because you're just nervous? That's what it is.
And that's the thing with Giannis when he's shooting out there. No one's biting on a pump fake because they're like, go ahead, shoot it. I dare you.
They want him to shoot it.
Exactly. I mean, it's like, this isn't the exact level, but like a defense against Ben Simmons, they're like, I'll give you 20 feet. Like
Easily.
They don't care.
But you see it in the Bucks right now, right? Like, I know this is kind of off the beaten path or whatever, but it's our show, so I guess we can do whatever the fuck we want. But
true,
like Giannis did really all he could in Game 4.
Yeah,
but the rest of the team shooting like shit. Drew Holiday was like 1 for 6 from 3-point line. He was 5 or 4 for 20 or some shit like that in Game 4, and the Celtics were able to come back when they could have easily, gone up 3-1. But now we're tied 2-2 because nobody on the Bucks can figure out how to shoot the fucking ball. So
right.
You have they need Chris Middleton back without a doubt. Like, until they get Chris Middleton back, a guy who's a pretty efficient scorer, like, you need that back, like, bad.
Yeah, I mean, without Middleton, it's gonna kill them every time. All right, this isn't bringing up the player stats. I'd have to go to the actual like box scores. But
what are you looking for?
I just wanted to look up some of like the help he was getting. Like, all right, so here's the box score from the last game.
It wasn't good.
So, no, it wasn't, and that's what I mean. Like, so Giannis was 14 of 32. 6 of 11 from free throw, which, I mean, for him isn't terrible.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
But look at Drew Holiday.
5 of 22. Bobby Portis 2 of 7. He's usually at least a little more efficient. Grayson Allen 3 of 7. Like, guys, someone's got to hit a shot.
I mean, Wes Matthews made 60% of his field goal attempts.
All of them threes.
Yeah, what does that tell you?
That's.
I mean, and then Connaughton was okay,
Yeah.
but they desperately need somebody who can. And Brook Lopez hasn't even been shooting threes.
That's true.
He hasn't. He's just been kind of. I mean, his reboundings. He had a double in Game 3, and now in Game 4 he had. 17 points and 7 boards.
7, yeah.
Like, that's good for Brook Lopez.
Oh yeah.
So he's doing
a solid
all he
game.
can. Yeah. Drew Holiday, inexcusable. You can't go 5 for 22. I mean, yeah, he always chips in other areas. 3 steals, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, 16 points. A lot of thank God he went perfect from the free throw line. But other than that, he played like complete garbage from a shooting aspect.
I mean, Grayson Allen, 1 of 4 from 3, 3 of 7 overall. He only had 2 rebounds and an assist. So, like, what else was he doing? He wasn't really doing much. And then George Hill only attempted 1 shot in 23 minutes.
Well, I mean, in his defense, he was out for a month with an abdominal injury, so we could give him a little.
I mean, I get it, but like, if your team is struggling, Al Horford had the game of his life: 11 of 14, 5 of 7 from 3, and I think they said he had like 14 points in the fourth quarter or something. 38, 3 and a block. I mean, even Marcus Smart, 8 of 13 with 18 points and 8 assists. Jaylen Brown didn't even have that good of a game. Yeah, he did. That's true. Jaylen Brown didn't even have that good of a game. But Derek White, like you and I have continuously said, a super important and great addition at the trade deadline.
Even getting Tice was pretty... Grant Williams just has been good, except Game 4 he played like hot dog shit. But other than that, I mean, he's been a pretty capable, option for them when they need. But if the Celtics without Robert Williams, I thought they were like more open to like playing faster and shooting better without him. So. I don't know if that's the type of Celtics we're going to see moving forward. I think you should tell Robert Williams to sit out the rest of the postseason.
I mean, especially if it's going to continue to work against Milwaukee. So,
I mean, who does Mil? Do you really need Robert Williams against the Bucks, anyways?
I mean, probably not against a guy like Brook Lopez because he's not really getting that much. Like you don't need somebody that's banging on the post down low or anything.
And shame on the Bucks too for all the offensive rebounds they got. They could not capitalize on any of the opportunities on the offensive end.
Oh yeah, no, that was the biggest issue for them. But we got a little far away from the MVP topic. But
Oh, we did.
but I will say yes, Jokic deserved an MVP. Either one of these three guys deserved an MVP. I wish it was Embiid, especially with the whole background story of the season with Ben Simmons not playing and them just having this whole season without him. And then James Harden coming and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, Jokic still did deserve it. So
it could have gone either way, honestly.
Agreed. Speaking of another center, Rudy Gobert said he would lock up prime Shaq. On Shaq's podcast, the one guy, Spice Adams, was like, I think Rudy Gobert would hold you to 12 points. Jokingly, he said this. And Shaq was like, yeah, 12 points in maybe 2 minutes. And Rudy Gobert commented on one of the social posts saying he'd lock him up. I don't know if Rudy Gobert is joking with himself or if he really is that delusional.
Well, at least the guy is confident in his abilities.
I mean, I guess, but like...
I mean, is he retarded? Yeah. But, I mean, at least he's confident. I mean, what do you think he's going to say? Nah, Shaq, you totally just steamroll me.
I mean, if I was him, I'd just not respond.
I mean, that's the thing, though. All the younger guys always want to... I would be better than, back in my day, I'd be dunking all, but...
Right.
It would never happen.
No. And that's the thing. Yeah, Shaq would just go right through it.
Shaq played up against way more capable centers than Rudy Gobert.
Shaq was putting 30-some points on Dikembe Mutombo fresh off a Defensive Player of the Year award.
Yao Ming, he was playing up against Yao Ming a lot.
Yeah.
David Robinson.
Oh, yeah. I watched him, dunk on top of David Robinson after doing 2 dribbles and a shoulder. And David Robinson is a hell of a lot bigger, especially muscular and everything, than Rudy Gobert is.
He was in the Navy.
Exactly. And David Robinson's looked at as one of the best centers to ever play.
Yeah, he's on drugs. I mean, whatever. If he thinks that he could lock him up, that's fine. There's not really going to be... I mean, even if he did go one-on-one against Shaq right now and he did lock him up, then you could just say, well, Shaq's 47.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of shape with sleep apnea, and you think you're, good for you. It's like...
Yeah.
It's like one of those situations where if you beat up a midget, big deal, you beat up a midget. But then if you get your ass kicked by a midget, you got your ass kicked by a midget. And I don't know if that's the term midget, but
we get it.
Right. Nothing against smaller people. Not that anybody's watching this anyways who's small, probably.
Probably not. Do you have anything against the Kings hiring Mike Brown as their new head coach?
No, fuck no. It's about time the Mike Brown got another head coaching job.
Yeah, seriously. It's been how long now?
Too long.
Yeah. What was it? His last job? Was it Cleveland? Was that his last job?
I believe.
I mean, obviously, I can.
It was Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah, because the Lakers popped in, but then I was like, it was Cleveland, but then of course they, we know what happened there. Anytime you get Mike Brown with, dipshit,
right?
So
and that was 2013-14 was his last head coaching season.
Right. Who's on that roster?
The 2013-14 one?
Yeah.
That was the year they drafted Anthony Bennett. So they had I didn't realize they drafted Seth Curry too. So it was Kyrie. The guys who played the most minutes for this team were Kyrie, Luol Deng, Tristan Thompson, Dion Waiters, Jarrett Jack, Anderson Varejao. So
That's a
pretty
blast
bad
from
team.
the past, yeah.
I had no idea that Cleveland actually drafted Seth Curry though, because it said Seth Curry was on this team.
I mean, think of how valuable Mike Brown is, right? And I think it's funny too that Steve Kerr was seen wearing his mask.
Oh
Half
yeah.
his mask is like down here, but then
Mm-hmm.
he pops for COVID. Shaq, but anyways, Steve Kerr gets COVID. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, you have Mike Brown as your assistant coach.
Right.
That motherfucker, literally, you're like, thank God I have him because that guy is like a great coach. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
He's better than 90% at least of the coaches in the league. And the fact that Kerr's not going to be back in game 5. He's not going
Right.
to he has COVID. He's not coming back. And the fact that you have Mike Brown now to help you out and to lead the team is so reassuring, and it's going to make a huge difference.
Oh yeah, and that's what I think. What people don't talk about enough is the fact that good assistant coaches are just as important as a good head coach, because a lot of these teams might have a terrible like coaching staff behind the head coach, and it shows. I mean, like the Sixers, a lot of people bitch and complain about Doc Rivers, but the coaches he has with him are a great group of coaches. I mean, you got what's his name? Cassell? Sam Cassell?
I didn't even
Um
know he was an assistant coach there.
yeah. And then I think I really hope I'm not messing that up, but I'm pretty sure it's Sam Cassell. Um yeah, he's an assistant for Doc Rivers. Yeah, Sam Cassell, and then he was the former, I think he was a former Memphis coach, Dave
Jaeger. Yeah,
Yeager.
and he
Dave
he
Yeager is
had
another
he had
assistant.
cancer. He was out for a while, but he was a
Yep,
great coach.
yep,
Well,
and he's
not
back on
great,
the
but
bench. Yeah, and he's behind Doc Rivers as well. Like your coaching staff is still very very important. On top of the fact of getting a good head coach, so I'm curious to see who Mike Brown gets around him in Sacramento. But I do like the hire from Sacramento, way better than Mark Jackson.
way better than Luke Walton worked out. But
That too.
I mean, with like the Nets, they have like Jacques Vaughn, and when the Lakers had Jason Kidd, and they didn't keep him for some reason. And even though,
Yep.
what did Jason Kidd do before Dallas? Now all of a sudden he's a good coach.
Yeah, he was in Milwaukee when Giannis was like a rookie and everything for like Giannis's. I think it was like Giannis's first couple seasons, and they underachieved, and then he became an assistant again, and then all of a sudden in Dallas, he's like this upstart head coach.
I mean, when the Nets see what's going on in Boston, I bet you they wish they, you know, got rid of Steve Nash and didn't let somebody else go to Boston who's looking pretty good right now. It's crazy that some of these assistant coaches are actually better than the head coaches.
I mean, Kenny Atkinson that left Brooklyn,
Yeah, he's on the Clippers now.
he looked pretty good. I think he's getting some interviews. So
Well, yeah, I mean Kenny Atkins is a good coach,
right. So yeah,
but
the
of
coaching
course
staff is important.
we know who fucked that up. So
True.
I mean it really worked out for him though
That's true. That's
because
true.
Because he didn't like DeAndre Jordan.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
god.
mean,
So go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know.
I was gonna say last topic here.
No,
JJ
one more
Redick.
thing though. I was going to
Oh,
say
go ahead.
with the Kings are on the upswing though. I mean, when you have Sabonis and Fox and whoever the hell else they
Davion
do,
Mitchell's looking good.
yeah. Just I mean, I don't know how much longer Rashawn Holmes has, but I mean, he's probably on his way out here eventually.
I'm sure they're going to trade Harrison Barnes too.
I mean, they were going to trade him at the deadline. Everybody wanted him, but for some reason he didn't get traded.
I know. He's actually a guy I could see the Brooklyn Nets like trying to offload people to try and get him.
He's got Toronto Raptors written all over him.
I mean, but the Raptors also need a center.
No, they don't. They just need. They got like 12 right now.
Yeah, but none of them stay healthy. That's the thing.
Kem Birch and Boucher, Precious.
I mean, Precious is great, but the rest of them never stay healthy enough to.
He's not really.
Be the center.
He's not great.
Well, he's not great, but he's a very good role player.
They do fine with what they have. The Raptors need a little more depth.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Outside of Malachi Flynn and Delano Banton and whoever the fuck else they have on there, right? Yeah,
that's about it. Yeah, no, I agree.
And what's sad is I'm mad because I can't name more Raptors players, but then as soon as we get off of here, I'm going to go Thaddeus Young and just start going through my brain of all the bums on the bench in Toronto.
Oh, God. So, last topic. Did you see the JJ Redick thing on First Take, I think it was?
No, I don't watch that show.
So, whoever the guy is, I don't know his actual name. They call him Mad Dog, like the older white guy.
Oh, Chris Russo.
Yeah. So, they're talking about Draymond and he was saying how, like, Russo was talking about how he knows these older fans that like really want Draymond to just shut up and be quiet for once and all sorts of things. And JJ Redick kind of went off on him and was just kind of like, look, that's the way that Fox News talks about athletes. That's the way that, you know, all these other people talk about athletes with this undertone and everything. And he's like, Draymond Green is a guy that when he talks, he's at his best in basketball. If he's quiet, that's not Draymond Green. So he's always going to talk because that's who he is. And his podcast, I don't know if you've listened to it, but his podcast is great because he's actually a really good speaker. And he did get hired by Turner to do broadcasts whenever he's not playing. But he talked about just the players in general that are guys that when they're locked in and in the zone, they talk a lot because they talk trash and everything, and that's their natural way of playing and natural way of doing things. And I just really like that rant from JJ to finally shut that guy up because he was going off on this rant of just like, oh, Draymond should do this, Draymond should do that. And it was like, well, Draymond has done pretty well for himself in the game of basketball, won a couple championships, defensive player of the year. So I think he's fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry, honey.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, that type of stuff from Draymond is his strength and it's his weakness.
Right.
There are times when it helps get, sets the tone for his team. He's somebody that is a leader. He's respected. Nobody messes with him. He has no problem getting after somebody. However, there are times, where that type of stuff cost him and the Warriors a championship because I still believe had he not got teched up and hit the tech limit during the series with Cleveland, there's no way in hell the Warriors would or the Cavs would have came back and won that series. But the fact that he ran his mouth, it cost them potentially another championship. So. But how many championships has that style of play brought them? So it's both good and bad. But for somebody who is from New York and has never played been on the court their entire life, is fine. Like, shut up. You don't. Okay, you're Chris Russo. We get it. You're the Mad Dog. Ooh, you know what I mean? But like. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have Draymond Green. It wouldn't be Draymond Green if he was just quiet, like you alluded to.
Right.
But then on the flip side, JJ Redick, like we don't have to go all woke here. Talking about Fox News and all this other garbage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he definitely got on like a roll with his rant and just like that's what
like on a high horse.
But I will say JJ Redick is a breath of fresh air on ESPN and everything because he actually brings a like point of view and an opinion that isn't just like, all right, let's do what the normal ESPN people do and say what the normal ESPN people say. So I will say I like seeing him on First Take, and I like seeing him do like the color commentary on games and stuff. He is good. I like JJ Redick.
I just don't like ESPN. I just don't like the political stuff. I don't care if you're what your political stance is. I don't care about that. I just want to watch sports.
Yeah. No, I feel that too. And I mean,
but you know who he'd be? What?
Go ahead.
I said, you know who he'd be? You know I interrupt because I get fucking crazy when it comes to... But he'd be a breath of fresh air for some NBA team that needs shooting.
I mean,
there was that big rumor that he was going to sign somewhere, but not till later toward the end of this season because, he was going to see where he fit in and how he could help, and that never happened. So hopefully ESPN's paying him enough to justify him not playing because I'm pretty damn sure he's got a couple more, good years under his belt.
Probably. But I feel like he probably is also getting paid a pretty good contract.
Got that Disney cash.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even his own podcast is pretty fun to listen to, too, with all the players he gets on there to talk to.
He's not better than our podcast. God damn it.
Damn right. That's why ours is the #1 podcast on the #1 division.
Right. Now, if we could just get some of you assholes hit that subscribe button, that'd be fucking fantastic.
Exactly. So right now, hit the subscribe button. Damn.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for us. The Sixers game has already started, and I definitely want to start watching that. Let's see. What is the score currently? Currently, the Heat are up 25-14 with about 3 minutes left in the first quarter.
Yeah, that won't last.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But unless you have anything to get off your chest, I think that's it for us.
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching. As we just said, hit that subscribe button down low. Just hit it right now. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify or Google Podcasts, everywhere you get your podcast, make sure you rate it, review, subscribe, show it to a friend, make them do the same thing. That helps us out greatly. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate all of you who do watch and support.
If you're a bus driver, though, you probably shouldn't listen to this with the kids on the bus.
Probably not. Wait till you drop the kids off.
Alex got a horrible mouth.
That's what I've been told.
F-bombs constantly.
But that is it for us. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Atlantic Files, the #1 podcast on the #1 division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. And we will catch you guys next week. Peace.